world, my name is Nicholas Montez, and you're watching my YouTube channel, Nicholas Montez. Welcome back to another YouTube channel video, everybody. I'm so excited to have it all back here together again. And in today's video, we're going to be discussing the next DreamWorks film of this series. So, before we get started, let me just say that this video is being posted, well, not posted, but it's being filmed, May 11th at, I'm about to say 5:34 p.m. Because, like I said with the Mother's Day thing, the reason why all these videos are a little bit 2 weeks early is because the way my schedule was is that I did have videos planned. I did have videos posting that the weekend I went to the beach for my Mother's Day weekend, but because there weren't as many, I decided to, plan for the week after that. And I did that, and it's been a very jumbled week, but I'm still here. So we're basically reviewing Abominable today. By the time you're watching this, it is May 21st, but by the time I'm filming this, it is May 11th, at 5:35 p.m. Yeah, it just switched times now that I'm talking more. But with that said, before we get into my review for Abominable, here are how my DreamWorks reviews work. First, I'm gonna review a couple of the movies that I have not seen before. That I have seen before. And it's good because we actually have 5 to talk about today. And then I'm gonna review the movie, talk about the good, the bad, give you my scores, the entertainment score, and the quality level score. And then at the end, I'm gonna give you my ranking of all the films, including the 5 movies that I'm gonna talk about in the beginning, as well as Abominable itself. But it's mostly gonna be, up to Abominable, not up to the Croods New Age. But with that said, let's start talking about these 5 movies. And if you don't know, whatever, you'll just find out what movies I'll be talking about in this video. Okay, so coming up after Penguins of Madagascar, we have 5 movies to talk about today. So the first one is Home, the second one is Kung Fu Panda 3, the third one is Trolls, the third one is The Boss Baby, and then the 5th one is Captain Underpants, the first epic movie. But the first one we're talking about here is Home because it was the first one that was released of these first 5 films that I have seen. And on quality level, I don't think it's a very good movie because the idea of these purple aliens taking over this planet, but they actually want to be friends with these humans, and then you have like the guy from the Big Bang Theory that becomes friends with this human, and their language is just so annoying and weird that it just does not fit well together. I kind of rewatch it now. It's a little bit weird at times. And their kind is just so weird, and it kind of just has some weird themes too. But on an entertainment level, I actually really enjoyed this movie. I think the adventure that we go on with O and the girl that is played by Rihanna, I think that they have some good chemistry together. I thought that I enjoyed that about the film. And really, just the whole ride, I enjoyed it as a whole. But right now, it's not the best DreamWorks film, but it's still a film I really enjoy. Alright, now Kung Fu Panda 3, you already heard my thoughts on the first 2 Kung Fu Panda films, where the first one was such a classic because they took this weird idea of taking a panda doing kung fu, and they just used that in a great manner. The second one did everything better. They made the story more compelling, the theme. I would say Kung Fu Panda 2 is probably the movie that has the best theme, with the characters you care about them, some new additions as well. There's a lot more action. We get to explore more of Poe's backstory in the second film. The second film just is all around better. But Kung Fu Panda 3, however, is probably the weakest of the entire Kung Fu Panda trilogy. But you'll see that because I actually will be ranking the Kung Fu Panda films because I'm completing the trilogy. But Kung Fu Panda 3, it's not the best Kung Fu Panda film. Now, there's things to like in it, okay? The animation is, of course, stunning. Probably one of the most stunning films of this entire list. It just made, like, when we explore the spirit realm, whether you're talking about the fight with Oogway and Kai, or Po and Kai in the spirit realm, the animation in it just looks fan-freaking-tastic. And that's what, I just love how DreamWorks is able to mesh the animation style of, like, Disney and Pixar as of right now. Because it's so good that animation studios can actually make films like this. But to stay off the obvious, the animation is really good. And once again, the movie delivers what you love from the first two Kung Fu Panda movies, with the awesome action, where they deliver awesome action in your face, like when the Furious 5 and Po are fighting the zombies in the Valley of Peace, and Po stuffs dumplings in his mouth, and then Tigress uses Viper to pull Po back so he could spit the dumplings out to hit the zombies. That's clever action, and so I love the action in this movie. And also, there's some very serious parts in Po's backstory, and as we explore it, even though most of his family revealing stuff is a little bit more used for jokes, I thought that the way they kind of used the story in here was very cool. And really just the way that we kind of explore Po's real family is really cool. And it's crafted in a very cool way. And it's it's really funny too as well. But where it gets a little bit, and also one more thing before we get on to why I don't like Kung Fu Panda 3 and why it's the weakest of the trilogy, is that Kai is actually a pretty interesting villain. I thought that, I mean, obviously, he's not the best villain, but actually, hang on. Let's just move on to the bad now. So, the reason why I think it's the weakest of the trilogy is because there's just some things that I loved in the original Kung Fu Panda movies that are not in here. First off, they sideline off of the Furious 5, which is one of my favorite parts of the original Kung Fu Panda movies. Just their characters, their interactions with Po are just so great. We get some of that in here, especially with the zombies attack scene, with the first zombies scene. And at the beginning when they're training with Po, but there's not much of them. And then, of course, Kai, like I said, I said he was sort of a good villain. He's cool, especially with the, chains, with the sharp chainsaws things. They're cool, but they're not things that you really enjoy. But, you enjoy him because he's J.K. Simmons. And, of course, J.K. Simmons is always fun in all the movies that he's played in. He played Kai the same year Zootopia came out, which was 2016 when Kung Fu Panda 3 and Zootopia came out, which was fantastic. And then 1 year later, he played Gordon in Justice League. But anyway, sorry, getting back to Kung Fu Panda 3. Also, I just don't feel like the reason of why Po's dad never really learned how to do chi just never really made sense to me. And then, when Kai, you think about this for a sec, sure, they crafted a new story where Kai is this guy that wants to steal chi to basically become the most powerful chi master in the world or something like that. They never really explained his story that well, because when they tell the story of Oogway and Kai, they don't really explain his story very well, of him wanting the power of chi all to himself. Of course, that plotline makes sense, but the plotline of where he wants to get every person's chi in the world, what's that? Then what happens? Is he gonna destroy all of them? Is he gonna kill all of them? What's going on? So that part didn't make sense. And then also, it just, like the first two Kung Fu Panda films, it just doesn't really feel fresh. Now, obviously, Kung Fu Panda 2 is not the most fresh DreamWorks film, but it is still, but I think what makes it better, but even though it's not fresh, it's better than the original film because everything they do, everything better. But Kung Fu Panda obviously is fresh because it was a new idea that has never been done before. But this film just it didn't really feel anything fresh. Everything, of course, while they did add some new stuff into the mix, they didn't, nothing really felt like fresh. So for me, it is really still a really good DreamWorks film, but for me, it's not the best one. So that's where it's going. Okay, so the next two, which are Trolls and Boss Baby, I actually have some unpopular opinions on them, but I'll talk about them when I get to them, which I'll be getting to Trolls now. Now, Trolls, here's where my unpopular opinion gets in. And we just started talking about Trolls. We're literally like 7-8 seconds in, and my unpopular opinion is about to start. I love Trolls. I think it's one of the best DreamWorks films ever made. And I'll tell you why. For me, I think that the story of these trolls singing and dancing all day is pretty good. I also think that the Bergen storyline is also very well, that they have to eat trolls to become happy. And the theme about being happy is actually really good. I really like the way they use that storyline. And the characters, I love the characters in this movie. Poppy, played by Anna Kendrick, is just such a great character. Branch is another great character. All the characters are pretty memorable. And they're all just funny and stuff like that. And the villain, you hate her. She's not like a fantastic DreamWorks villain or anything, but you like him. All the other cast members, like, they're all like hip. They're like basically like singers that all the singers you know, or famous actors that you would know, such as like Anna Kendrick, Justin Timberlake. Like, they bring in all these singers that you famously know of, and it's just so cool that they do that. And I also like some of the animation, but the best thing about this film is the soundtrack. The soundtrack is easily, I would say this is probably one of the best movie soundtracks I have heard in a long time, since Guardians of the Galaxy and the Twilight movies, which are two off-brand movies that are really off-brand. But this is another one of those movies that the soundtrack is just amazing. Like, they literally play almost all the songs. There's literally like True Colors or Can't Stop the Feeling I wouldn't know about if I didn't watch this movie. So I'm so glad that this movie exists, and like Home, this is another one of the most rewatchable DreamWorks films for me. Alright, so this is another one of those unpopular opinions I was talking about. And this is, like the Trolls part, I have my unpopular opinion is about to come in. I love Trolls and think it's one of the best DreamWorks, I love Boss Baby, and I think it's one of the best DreamWorks movies ever made. And I'll tell you why again. For me, I think this is just a very heartfelt, funny, and comedic film. And I think that part comes in because it's so relatable of having a new brother in the house, and really everything that happens where they're bickering, and in the end they're brothers again, and it's just a very cool story. And I think they tell it in a new way. The baby humor is just fantastic. I just love the baby humor. I laugh out loud every single time. I know it may not be as good as for you guys, but for me, I love Boss Baby. The villain, you hate him like you do with the Bergen villain from Trolls. And also the voice cast is really good with Tobey Maguire as adult Tim, Alec Baldwin as Boss Baby, and then the guy that played the wolf in Hotel Transylvania, I forgot his name. Stephen Buscemi or something like that, I don't know. But yeah, I love this movie. Alright, so Captain Underpants, the first epic movie, I have to let on a little secret before I actually talk about it, is that, this is kind of a movie that kind of inspired the 6 MC movies I want to make part series. Just because back when I first saw this movie, it kind of gave me the inspiration to want to make comic books. Like, I literally, I think I made a comic book once. Like, I literally made, Tom Cruise, like, squatting down. And, like, I literally did that. I don't know where it is, but, I probably won't find it because I probably threw it out or something. Because I don't remember if I had it when I moved. I don't know. But anyways, as of right now, the movie Captain Underpants, the first epic movie, it's just a great superhero film. Really just great humor. They really just handle all these potty jokes really well, really nicely. There's a lot of jokes in here that just work so well. You care about the situations that are happening within these characters, and once again, with the characters, they're just funny. They know how to. DreamWorks knows how to do funny comedy. And also, Captain Underpants himself is, of course, a charming character. He's just a likable character. And the action is, of course, pretty cool. And the music is also pretty cool. The villain, pretty good. Not the best one, but pretty good. The animation, I also like the way they kind of did the animation, where they made it actually like the Captain Underpants comic books. I like the way they did that stuff. And it just has it kind of has some heart into it a little bit. And yeah, so I actually, and in the end, at the end of the day, you care about the principal, which became Captain Underpants, and I actually kind of like that. So that's what I so I really like this movie. But now let's get into the real film that we're talking about today, Abominable. So for me, I actually really enjoyed this movie. First off, the animation is fantastic. I literally cannot believe, like I said with Kung Fu Panda 3 a couple minutes ago, I cannot believe that DreamWorks can actually do films where stuff like this can come to life. The animation is just phenomenal. I love the animation in this film. And also, you gotta talk about some of the humor. I thought some of the humor worked, especially where Everest and the other Pang were punching each other in the face, or whenever Everest puts Pang in his mouth. Like, the comedy works in this movie a lot. And also, I think that it dives into some of the characters are pretty cool in this. Are actually pretty cool in this movie. Yi, as the main character, honestly, when I was going into this movie, I literally thought that I thought Yi was played by Emma Stone. Because, like, literally she sounds like Emma Stone. But, hey, that's just me. But, for right now, I really like Yi's character, where she really does, I love the way that she loves music, and I also like the way that we kind of dive into her missing a parent, and just her character arc in this film is just really well handled. And even Pang and the other guy, I think that they also work too. And likewise, as this is a film that, you know, it's very different from a movie we've seen like this before, where there's a group of kids that are on this adventure with a mystical creature that go on this adventure to go save a land, and there's like people with guns after them. We've seen movies like that, but I think it's done in a little bit differently, where this creature, or this mystical creature, is a yeti that can do magical things, where he can ride stuff through flower fields and do all these magical stuff and things. And so I think it's actually really cool. And another thing is, when you go back to the music part, the music is fantastic. When it's played by violins, my gosh, it's fantastic. And even some of the pop culture songs I thought was really good too. And I also liked the way when she played music, it like did something magical. It did stuff magically, and I thought that was really cool. And you know, some plot and I thought that the snake in the film, where it was like whoop, and then the guy was like, there it is, and I was like, oh my god, I just realized that, and I was like, ugh, this is fun. This is funny. So yeah, there's a lot of things to like about this movie, and I really enjoyed this movie. From there, I do have a couple of issues, so let's move on to the bad. And I think the big problem here with this film is there's just some things that don't really work. For one thing, Everest's powers, I don't really think they're explained very well. Now, obviously, this is an animation film; it's not real. I'm not sure if Yetis are real, but magical Yetis are not real. And I just don't think that his powers are very well explained. Like, his powers, I just don't think they're well explained. I do think there's some character moments that are sort of okay. There's some fine things throughout the film, like there's character choices that, like, I watched a review of Abominable today, and that was like from 2 years ago, and one of the people said, like, that when the guy used his phone to get through the forest, like, he said something so confusing that just did not make sense to me. So that's a thing I didn't really like. And also the villain plot twist, not really the best thing. She goes bad, and then she pretends to like the guy again, and that never works for me. And when the film ends, I don't know, just never really sat with me. So that's where it's gonna go. And there's just, I just feel like that there's other things in this movie that I don't know how to explain it, but there's just other things in this movie that just does not make it perfect. It doesn't make it. I don't think it makes it one of the best DreamWorks movies out there. But this is still a very well-crafted DreamWorks animation film that I personally really liked. And yeah, so that's my review for Abominable. Before I give you my scores, be sure to tell me down below, what did you guys think about Abominable? Did you guys love it? Did you guys hate it? We're right there in between. Let's get some next discussions going. With that said, let's get on with my scores. Alright, so that is it for my Abominable review, but we're not done yet. We gotta rank all of the DreamWorks films up to Abominable, as well as the 5 movies that I talked about at the beginning. So let's see where Abominable and the other 5 movies rank. Alright, so that is it for my review for the 5 DreamWorks films like I just talked about, my review for Abominable, as well as my ranking for all the DreamWorks movies up to Abominable. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. My Instagram name is Marvel6 and my TikTok name is Marvel1Fan. If you guys don't understand those names, head to my About section so you can follow me on all social medias. I'm also on Letterboxd. It's the same name as my Instagram, Marvel_6_, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.